So earlier this year, I made some questionable financial decisions, and the largest happened to be on a game for Kickstarter. The game is Sunnyside. It's made by Rainy Games, and it's a JRPG farming sim. Of all the farming sims I supported or looked at, Sunnyside was the one that grabbed my attention the most, and for quite a few reasons. Beyond what initially hooked me, and against all odds involved in developmental hell, they've kept my trust and faith, and I honestly think I'm more interested in the game now than back then because of all of their efforts. To summarize, Sunnyside initially hooked me with its charm, its individual features, unique inspirations, the visuals, the music, the promise of detailed gameplay systems, and they further convinced me by earning my trust by using developmental strategies that promote improvement and positive community management. With my interest and trust, I looked further into the project and became more and more excited. Sunnyside's developmental tactics are one of the core reasons I care at all for the project, more importantly why I trust both their ability to complete the project and why I believe that it will be authentic. The team's transparency, flexibility, and creativity this year have reinforced my faith in the product. The developers maintain a level of transparency I wish more would adapt to, and I know when and why timelines aren't met. I can see their progress, and I trust the developers because of their transparency. They handle this by having a proper framework for both the distribution of information and by having a team available that's responsive for their fans. And Sunnyside maintains consistent updates on multiple platforms. Kickstarter, Twitch, and Discord all receive consistent updates. New additions are being added constantly, and the flood of communication is regular. I find myself constantly surprised when I check their feeds, and I look forward to updates via Discord pings or whatever. It's exciting to see all of their announcements and progress. The consistent updates also verify that the game is still in development, still actively being worked on, and moving towards completion. Furthermore, the team is honest. If they fall behind or if an event pops up that affects their release dates or any of their announcements, they've proven more than willing to release that information. They state the impact and explain their cause. They're willing to share. Beyond updates, the PR team also engages with the community well. The team is responsive to QA. They reliably try to answer customers' and fans' questions, and remain respectful through it. Streams are happening weekly in their Discord, anywhere from community events to developer streams to watching the producer's cat. There's a clear effort being put both into the community and into the game, which I appreciate. In fact, one of the resources they pour into the community is the support for content creators. They have a literal package available for anyone wishing to promote or discuss the game. This took time, effort, and resources. Their dedication towards transparency and their community engagement is amazing. These developers are not hiding away until their game's release or failure. They're actively keeping everyone involved and updated. And as a customer, this is one of the most important things I can find on Kickstarter. Dynamic development has led to clear improvement for the project. Developments remain dynamic, open alternatives, and natural innovation, the kind that would only occur during the developmental process. Adaptability as well, with adding new team members, applying new technologies to improve their processes and workflow, and a general acceptance of help from any source. All of these have helped Sunnyside greatly. Engagement with their community, for example. The community's passion has created opportunities where they have directly or indirectly assisted development. The team's acceptance of outside help has improved the project drastically. Many of Sunnyside's new members have been directly from their community. In fact, the producer and community manager, FemChef, was originally a member of the community. She decided to join the team and commit her expertise to Sunnyside, much to the game's benefit. There's a YouTuber who has released several videos detailing all of the major updates, and he's received consistent support from the team. Their open-minded and flexible approach to development is welcoming. Many studios I've dealt with have had issues with pride, refusal to change, bring in new ideas, or even team members, and it's really welcoming to see Sunnyside do the opposite. The open-minded customs for Sunnyside also create an environment for natural innovation. Essentially, during development, new ideas and processes can be thought of. While the addition of these ideas can be beneficial to the team, they can also obstruct the product. And this can be referred to as feature creep. Feature creep is where processes are added at a pace that uses up both funds and time. This can damage the product and potentially destroy it. However, Sunnyside has maintained a balance of allowing natural innovation and preventing feature creep. And this is done by their careful evaluation of resources and the potential additions. To reference FemChef once more, Rennie actually credited her recently for helping. To directly quote him, "The team is incredibly lucky to have her write, design, manage, and keep us all on track and protect us all from the scary feature creep monster." So excuse me while I may not have fully captured just how helpful she has been to the team, That quote only reinforces how valuable it has been for Rainy Games to be open to recruitment during development and from its community. The biggest issue I have with Kickstarter, early access, or any pre-order is that I don't know what I'm going to get. Especially when the title is part of a trend. When trends occur, cash grabs or potential flukes happen. And recently Kickstarter actually saw an influx of indie farming sims. Many look genuine, and I don't want to discredit anyone, but I do struggle to identify some from others, because they relied on exclusive inspirations. For example, Harvest Moon and Stardew Valley have inspired the majority of the genre, and while many of these games have their own character, I still think some are going to falter, and I can't really know that until their release, or never happening. But Sunnyside was different. Immediately the game looked unique. I can see what it's inspired by, but I can also see the personality and character of it. And to be honest, it looks Sunnyside. It looks iconic. But if there's any one thing that explains why I found Sunnyside attractive, it's the game's vision, and the studio's vision. Unique inspirations and a visual style that's lacking in the genre don't properly characterize why I think the game's unique, or why it has individuality. Sunnyside is a sum of people and their vision for a passion product. The most important vision is the creative lead's, Rainy's, and his goal to pull together ideas and still make something personal is important. He had a desire to make a game with a purpose, one that I think is very important. The game could function as an escape. The theme, escape, is used to obviously escape from work, life, the city, essentially an escape from stress. And all of the ideas he pulled together and this clear theme give life to Sunnyside, adding in the rest of the team with other unique ideas or inspirations and a common focus, and it's no surprise that the game stands out. If you didn't know, I'm a sucker for art direction. Pastels, cel shading, psychedelic imagery, the weirder and more stylized, the better for me. And Sunnyside is unfortunately not very visually unusual, and I don't blame them for it, but it is stylized, very much so. Sunnyside actually features cel shading, which I mentioned I loved, and it's a style that manipulates colors to make 3D models look flatter. It's a style that was used by and further popularized by Zelda Breath of the Wild. They implement elements of graphic design in parts of their game. Furthermore, it's graphically impressive, but I'll pin on that for later, let's continue. On the topic of character design, Sunnyside, at first glance, surprised me with its characters first and foremost. They're 3D, already unique, and the characters are cel-shaded. Finally, they're obviously Japanese-inspired, they're anime-looking, and the most eye-catching thing about Sunnyside has always been its characters. Sunnyside is as much social sim as farm sim, so the characters have to be interesting. Characters have to be distinguished, they have to look great and have variety. Animations have to look good, and it does, better than most Unreal products I've seen. The quality of the characters in every aspect is wonderful in Sunnyside, and above the indie market standards. If you look at the concept art or the in-game models, you'll see what I mean. The detail and quality of characters are remarkable, and it's great because it's necessary. Moving on to elements of graphic design, and I actually studied graphic design briefly in high school, and I've really only maintained an interest in it beyond that. But when I saw Rainy's UI design, I was able to see the style behind it immediately. In UI, Sunnyside takes great inspiration from the Persona series, which heavily incorporated graphic design styles into art direction, especially in menus. Starting with Persona 3, and they continued the trend to the present day with 4 and 5. But Rainy doesn't just take the inspiration, he performs exceptionally with UI design, very much making his own thing. Menus are clear, creative, and beautiful. It's enjoyable to look at something that otherwise can be gross and grating. Looking at the Sting games, and while I love them, their cluttered menus actively promote eye strain. I would love to play them, but they love their messy charts, lists, and graphs. And that's why I like Sunnyside, because it doesn't hurt to look at. It's clean, attractive, it's valuable when the point of the game is enjoyment and relaxation, that it doesn't hurt my eyes to relax and enjoy it. And to go back to graphics, typically I'm not too concerned with graphics, especially in games. I find that they don't matter with age as much, but that's not the case with Sunnyside. The team prioritized graphical effects that I believe assist their theme. They focus on lighting, weather effects, and skyboxes, because in a stylized world, I think consistency of quality between art direction and graphics is necessary for immersion. They needed to prioritize certain graphical elements to pursue their theme and achieve immersion, because immersive worlds are a very useful tool for escaping stress. And I know for a fact that Rainy actually has a pet peeve with bad skyboxes and the effects around them. This naturally means that he poured a great amount of effort into making his look amazing, and weather effects and the skybox do look amazing. In a game about exploration, both the landscape and the sky should look impressive. Furthermore, a game about farming should value weather and both the systems and the visuals. To talk about the lighting, well, lighting is the king of graphics. A good lighting engine can make anything look next-gen, and this is especially true with stylized graphics. Stylized graphics have lighting as their priority, and in fact, the biggest graphical changes I add when modding anything, say Skyrim, are lighting updates. Take the comparison on screen as a reference, then look at the cafe and how Rainy Games is handling lighting. You should be able to see how I value this despite being an art direction is better than graphics guy, and how it can add so much to the value of the game. Sunnyside is a predominantly Western team, but has members in a community spanning the globe. That being said, it's still a JRPG, or Japanese role-playing game, and a farming sim. Sunnyside has many JRPG inspirations. Many of the qualities found in JRPGs that I value, in and outside of the genre, appear to be making their way in the game. For example, the plot. Sunnyside, like most JRPGs, will have one, and I assume it'll be fairly linear. From what I can take from the information provided, it seems like it has a bit more effort put into it than most farming games would. I don't expect it to be exceptionally deep, but I value that it's present regardless, and enjoy that alongside the characters and town stories, there will be an overarching plot to pursue at my leisure. Another inspiration derivative of JRPGs is probably the music. Most JRPGs I've played have had wonderful soundtracks, and the genre prioritizes them greatly for both gameplay and storytelling purposes. It's the same for Sunnyside. They achieve their goal of a soothing atmosphere through music. Sunnyside takes its inspiration from the Persona series again here, and the team actively pursued an OST of jazz like the Persona 5 track, with an idea of creating the same relaxing environment in Persona 5 during its social hours. Their composer, Matthew Thompson, manages to take the concept and inspiration in hand and make an OST that doesn't just fulfill its purpose, but also sounds novel and beautiful. And one of the biggest inspirations is going to be in the combat. When Sunnyside was first announced, combat was promised alongside the farming and social features. Combat in the game's plot would work hand in hand, however I was worried about its production, thinking it to be more of a watered down Zelda. And thankfully I was worried for no reason. The team recently announced that combat would be turn-based. This is a bold decision very few in the market have even claimed to go for. The only team I can think of doing something like this is Ova Magico, which is still in development and more mirroring Pokemon than a traditional JRPG. And knowing this team and their inspirations, I can only assume the system will be a bit more traditional. It was even mentioned that non-lethal options may be found in combat, making me think of Undertale and its inspiration, Earthbound. I don't know much about it, but I'm eager to discover what they come up with. Alongside the combat system, I want to briefly mention the depth of some other features. Crops, cooking, and general crafting has significant effort and care in them. They manage a level of immersion with these mechanics that's almost too much, but can still satisfy the casual player. They manage to create an immersive and almost educational game system, but they're not overbearing. And this is due to their personal hobbies and interests reflected in the game systems. Certain members have, say, an obsession with fishing, cooking, and they add a realistic depth to the game systems in a place that other studios wouldn't fit in. And I'm so excited to play this game because of the details and ingenuity that the team has promised. Sunnyside and Rainy Games' policies and creativity have convinced me to invest in this product. I have confidence in their ability to deliver a product that I will love. This video was really meant to help me understand my own feelings about the project. For you, the audience, it was meant to be feedback and support, maybe even entertainment. But in the end, I feel like all I've done is praise the game up and down, and it's not even released. To be honest, I don't think I'm really praising Sunnyside so much as the team behind it, and more so the people. And to the team, Rainy, Fimshay, Matthew Thompson, Kitty Hart, Kaori, Alan, Ken, Renee, Kirill, Elizabeth, Emily, and Dante, and I'm sorry if I got y'all's names wrong, but thank you so much for making such a wonderful game. Sunnyside wouldn't be what it is, or what it will be, without y'all, and I look forward to the game's release and every game after. Stay safe, and to all of the viewers, if you're interested, as I said, the links are below. Thank you for your time.